Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Jadwiga. I'm your fairy tale teller. Now I'm going to tell you a little story from Japan. Once upon a time there was a blacksmith whose wife had passed away while giving birth to their daughter. And the blacksmith thought that it would be good to get remarried, to have a mother for the little daughter and a wife for his household. So he married again, but his choice was not a good one because this new wife was evil. She did not like her little stepdaughter and she could not stop complaining and arguing about her. So whenever the blacksmith returned back home from work at night, the stepmother was full of complaints about this girl. And the older she grew, the more work in the household her stepmother told her to do, but she was never, ever satisfied with what she did. Now the little girl had a very good heart and everybody loved her. And she was always singing and dancing and always in a good mood, even though she was treated so badly. And since she had a very good heart, whenever a beggar knocked on the door, she gave him something, a little bowl with rice or soup or a coin if she had one. So this made her stepmother really angry. And she complained that this girl spends all their money, all the money her husband had so hard worked for, and she just spoiled it and gave it to all kinds of people, worthless people, and did not care about the hard work it had cost to make this money. Now, and we all know when you hear lies again and again, somehow, someday, they become true. So eventually the father told his daughter to leave their home because the stepmother had promised she would ruin them and one day they would starve because she would have spent all the money. Now the little girl walked the streets of her little village. It was cold, snow was falling, and she was terribly shivering. And she knocked on all the doors asking for shelter, for work, for something to eat because she was hungry, but nobody opened. Nobody was able or willing to share something with her. So eventually she ended up at a pub and she pleaded that pub owner, please give me at least a cup of tea, some hot tea. But the pub owner said, what do you want? I don't have enough, so if you cannot pay, just leave. And in her despair, she said, well, I give you my jacket. You may sell it and then give me something to eat for the money you get for it. The pub owner took the jacket and the girl was sitting outside on the stairs, shivering terribly because now she didn't even have a jacket. And after a long while, people had been entering and leaving the pub. After a long while, she went inside and said, oh dear pub owner, did you succeed to sell my jacket? And what did you get for it? Please give me something to eat. And now the pub owner became so angry and said, what? You tell me you gave me your jacket? Oh, you liar. And she screamed so loudly that all the people in the pub looked around and listened to that argue, and they laughed at the little girl. So she left and ran away, and she was so desperate. She said, there is nothing good I have to expect from life anymore. Maybe it is best I go into the woods and ask the wolves to eat me up. So she walked the woods, but she had no idea how to find the wolves. So she was singing kind of, "Oh, little wolf, come here and eat me." But nothing happened. So eventually, she had already given up, and she was terribly cold and hungry. A wolf stood in front of her. And now, since she saw these teeth and the sparkling eyes and the huge body of that wolf, she became a bit afraid. But still, she said, "Oh, please, please, dear wolf, eat me, because I don't have anything good to expect from life anymore." And the wolf looked at her and said, "Your problem is that you are not able to see who is a good person and who is a bad person." So he took 2 of his eyelashes, handed them over to the girl, and said, "Whenever you see somebody, just look through my eyelashes, and if the person you see does not change at all, this is a good person. But when it's changing, don't trust. Run away. Run as fast as you can." And then he handed her over the 2 eyelashes. Now she easily found her way out of the forest, and when she reached the road, she sat down and watched people passing by. There was a very elegant, pretty woman, and she looked through the eyelashes, and that elegant, pretty woman all of a sudden had a chicken head, and she was picking, and she was ugly. So the girl knew this is not a good person. Then a salesman came along, and she looked through the eyelashes, and all of a sudden the salesman had a fox head, and he looked very angry and aggressive. So she saw this is not a good man either. But whoever passed her way and she looked through the eyelashes, all of these people changed. They had ugly heads of any animals, and none of them was a good person. She gave up and said, "There are no good people. There are no good people in the world." Obviously not. But then she saw a young man. He obviously was tired, and he was carrying a heavy bag on his back. So she looked through the eyelashes, and this young man did not change at all. No matter how long, how sharp she watched him, he stayed the way he was. So now she knew this is a good person, but she did not know how to talk to him, what to say. And so she decided simply to follow him, and hoping that she would have an idea how to talk to him. The young man went very fast, but she followed, always in a distance, hoping he would not see her. And eventually, after a long while, they reached the house of the young man. He was a charcoal burner, and there was a fire going on and a kettle with water hanging above the fire. But she could not see the charcoal burner, so she sat down on the stair at the front door, waiting for him. And eventually he showed up and he said, "You followed me. I realized you are a ghost, so leave me. I don't know what you want from me." And she said, No, I'm not a ghost. I'm a real person. I'm a girl." And she told him what had happened to her, and just asked him to stay with him, to work for him, to do his household, to cook for him and wash his laundry. And he said, "I'm sorry, I'm poor. I cannot pay you. You will not spend the life you are used to. when you stay with me, so you better go. But she said, no, I have no choice. And please, please, let me stay with you. And so he eventually agreed. But then she said, before I enter your house, I would like to wash myself, wash my hands, wash my feet, because I'm a bit dirty. Well, he said, there behind the house, there is a spring. Just go there, you can wash yourself. And the spring was covered with wooden boards. And when she leaned over it, she saw that there were lots of little stones on the bottom of that spring. And she took one, and it was sparkling and shiny and beautiful. And there were many, many of them. And then there was a bamboo pipe, and she took some water coming out of the spring to drink. She realized this is the best rice wine she had ever had. And she ran back to that young man and said, do you know you're a rich man? Huh? Well, these little stones, this is pure gold. Oh, you're kidding, he said. There are plenty of them. I could make a mountain out of them. There is so much. Yes, but it's gold, she said. And the water coming out of your bamboo pipe, this is not water. This is rice wine. This is exquisite, the best rice wine you have ever had on earth. So let us sell some of the gold, and then we can raise a guest house here, and you will see we'll become really rich and wealthy. He still did not believe, but next day they went to the city and they changed some of the gold nuggets into money. And really, they could raise this beautiful guest house. And it didn't take long. They were very known, and people came from far away to eat and drink at their house. And really, they became very wealthy and happy. Now, what had happened at the girl's home? The stepmother, well, now, since the girl had been sent away, she had to do all the work, and she did not like that. And since she had an evil heart and did not stop complaining, she passed away. She left this planet. And her father was not a lucky man anymore, because whatever he tried to produce in his blacksmith shop was nothing. It was of poor quality. It broke apart. It did not last. It had not the quality he always was known for. And so people did not buy anymore at his place, from his place, and he became a beggar because he could not make any money anymore. And he walked away from that little town where he had lived and eventually reached the guest house of his daughter. But he did not recognize her, nor did she him. But he realized that this young woman was friendly to everyone, even to a beggar like him. And she offered him a bowl with soup and a glass of rice wine. And he thought of his daughter, who always had been good to beggars, and he had accused her for wasting his money. And now he realized how important it is to care for poor people. And tears started running across his cheeks. And now his daughter realized who that old man was. And she said, "Oh, dear father, don't cry. You can stay with us." and imagine how happy the two were to embrace themselves and to be reunited again. Yeah, the old man stayed with the young couple, and he lived quite a number of years happy and healthy. Yeah, I was wondering why 2 eyelashes? Why not just one? But the 2 is the symbol for duality. The 2 symbolizes good and evil, honest and betrayal, black and white, beautiful and ugly. So this is the duality of the 2. And they show good people or evil people. This is why the wolf needed 2. And you need 2 to look through 2 eyes, because many times we just look on one eye and close the other because we want to see something, and we deny to see what we could see if we really looked with our both eyes. Yeah, I hope you like this little story and give me a thumb, and hope to see you again. Bye.